So we looked at last week all the evidence in the Ruby Franke case that we know up to this point. Really disturbing stuff. But this didn't come out of nowhere. The signs were there for years leading up to this, and people were sounding alarm bells for years leading up to this. Jay Aubrey was on top of this 3 years ago. He posted a shorter video about Ruby Franke and particularly focused on the 8 Passengers YouTube channel that she had with her family. And at the time, it was pretty clear that abuse was going on, but it seemed to be more so just like child exploitation, exploiting these children's lives to air out on the internet, to capitalize and to make money. And so it seemed like at the time that was mostly what was going on. But of course we now know that things were much darker and things escalated a lot deeper, to the point where I don't think that the 2 children that were still living with her would be alive if things had gone on much longer. So today I just want to go back and take a look at what was going on years ago, and all the things that she felt comfortable putting on this YouTube channel for millions of people to see and to make money off of. And like the whole family YouTube channel thing is a issue in and of itself. That is a whole different rabbit hole that could be gone down. But yeah, we're going to take a look back at that. Again, this is Jay Aubrey. You should know who he is. He makes great content, great documentaries on YouTube. Give him a subscribe. Let's get into it. Jay Aubrey always has just the best music on all his videos.
You think it's funny that was 7 months ago. Maybe you need longer without a bedroom. He didn't get anything. He was sleeping on the floor in the family room.
I, parent, am not responsible for how my child feels.
Do you know what time it is?
YouTube is the #1 most visited website on the internet, making it one of the easiest and most accessible avenues for anyone looking.
What we got here?
Do you know what time it is?
YouTube is
A fucking Keemstar, Moist, H3, that Cody Co, Gabby.
is the #1 most visited website on the internet, making it one of the
Bell.
easiest and most accessible avenues for anyone looking to monetize their art. For some, that art comes in the form of animations, while for others it could be something along the lines of movie or music reviews, with some genres being more demanding than others. Vlogging, for example, involves sacrificing your privacy in exchange for a certain level of authenticity. Documenting both the highs and the lows of your day-to-day life can lend itself to a more genuine experience from the viewer's perspective, regardless of how exaggerated certain events may.
People who can do like really high quality and engaging vlogs, I have a lot of respect for. I mean, it's super easy to make a vlog. Like, it, you know, just record your day and put it up there. But like if you can, like obviously Casey Neistat is the goat of it, but like if you can film your day and make a compelling narrative out of it and tell a story with it and keep you engaged the whole time, that is definitely an art.
May be. To me, the typical vlog is just content for people to live through. But it's this personal connection mixed with a stream of highly edited and entertaining videos that makes for a winning combination on YouTube, with many of these channels racking up an unprecedented amount of dedicated viewers regularly. But what happens when you bring children into the mix? And at what point does this steady stream of family-friendly content suddenly drift into exploitation? How much can truly go wrong when every minute detail of your...
I'll just go ahead and say I don't think that kids should be a part of any sort of online content, especially when you're talking about like putting content out to millions and millions of people. That's just not something that should be done, and especially when you're talking about monetizing off of that content and making a living off of that.
Life is presented to an audience of millions. I'd say this is a pretty important question, at least in the case of a woman named Ruby Franke.
Whenever we start sharing the details of how we actually parent, we get a lot of upset.
Ruby and Kevin Franke are the owners of a popular family vlog channel known as 8 Passengers, where they upload around 3 videos a week documenting their lives for a dedicated fan base of over 2 million people.
I know I think towards the end she was uploading like 5 videos a week, like at 6 a.m. every day. This is crazy.
Garnering well over one.
At that point though, I don't know, surely they would be outsourcing their editing at that level. But yeah, that is a lot of content to be putting out for a family channel.
Billion total views since their launch in 2015. With her husband preoccupied as an assistant professor at BYU, Ruby ultimately runs the show, along with her 4 sisters who also maintain channels of their own, all falling under the same common theme of family vlogging.
If you cut...
I need to dive in to see, like, do a follow-up on her sisters, because I know at the time, like, some of them were saying that, like, they're glad that she got caught and that they had been, like, trying to get the police to do something for a long time. But I don't know, surely... And then, like, when she got in with Jody Hildebrandt, that they were saying, like, this stuff you're, like, in with is weird. Like, we don't want you to, like, come around anymore. Like, this is weird. So it's like, it's hard to tell, like, how genuine that was, or if they're just trying to, like, distance themselves from her. But I do think that Ruby was pretty unique in her evilness. There's a lot of fuck shit that goes on in Mormonism, but the stuff that she was doing was just on another level.
One more thing in my house.
We're chopping its head off.
I'm going to take the scissors, look at me, and I'm going to cut its head off.
Grandma will be so mad.
I want to tell you something, and I want you to really listen. We should have been in that crash. Put them in your pockets so you can take them down to the hamper and drop and give me 10.
1.
Put your hands straight out. They're in. They're not supposed to be out. Shape your hands forward. There you go. 1, 2, down further. Bring your butt down.
Through her years of lifestyle mommy vlog entertainment, Ruby has accumulated a net of almost 500,000 Instagram followers and a rough estimate of $2.5 million. Though it's hard to imagine Ruby's enormous success without the help of her 6 children, all of which I will be censoring for the sake of respecting their own.
I really appreciate that. I hate that their faces are plastered everywhere.
privacy. With 2 boys and 4 girls, the ages of these children range from 17 all the way down to 6 years old. In fact, the very first video on the 8 Passengers channel was the gender reveal of that very 6-year-old. Meaning this fast-paced YouTube vlogger lifestyle is all this 6-year-old girl knows. Her life has been subjected to the cruel lens of a video camera since she was literally in the womb. But hey, I'm sure that'll have no greater impact on her.
I believe that she, yeah, she was one of the ones who was found, or she was the one that was found in Jody Hildebrandt's home, in the closet, and it took her 4 hours to get off the floor and go with the paramedics.
Her development whatsoever. I mean, how would you feel if the most critical years of your growth had been exploited for the sole purpose of granting your parents monetary success and online prevalence? In terms of the 8 Passengers channel,
I don't even know how much that's gonna, I mean, it's obviously gonna affect her, but like she's gonna have, and all of them are gonna have so much more to deal with and unpack and work through in therapy on. The whole exploitation for money on the internet is just going to be another layer to it.
The controversy surrounding this lovely couple runs a little deeper than what you may see on the surface. At first glance, they may seem like your typical run-of-the-mill family, simply trying to share their joyous journey with the rest of the world, plus a few overly clickbaity thumbnails. But from what I and many others have observed as of late, there seems to be something far more sinister happening here.
I actually was thinking about you, Julie. Can I have a conversation with you?
Not the talk, not right here.
Actually, that's what it is.
No, it's not.
No.
Not doing this, not doing this.
Okay, so here, just come sit by me.
I mean, you can agree or disagree with the way a parent goes about discussing puberty with their kids. I mean,
It just should not be made into fucking goddamn content.
I just learned everything through the internet, which definitely didn't stunt my development at all. But I think most people would agree that filming such an awkward moment and uploading it to a family-friendly channel seemingly against your own child's will is a little unnecessary.
Can you not film it?
So I just
You just got rejected.
Of course there's no way they cannot not film it. If they did not film it, how are they supposed to make money and pay for your schooling, kid? Kids nowadays have it way too easy. Back in her day, they actually had this outdated thing called privacy.
I mean, right in the same video, these kids are pleading with Ruby not to have this talk on camera. Forget the conversation itself, the fact that it's having to be...
It's like for one, like they can't really, they're not like in a place to be able to consent to this in the first place. And then when they're explicitly not giving their consent, you're still doing it.
broadcast to countless strangers on the internet is embarrassing enough in itself. Imagine having to show your face at school, knowing there are kids in your class who have seen you have such a personal talk with your parents. Any kid that age would be humiliated. What about the time Ruby uploaded her 11-year-old daughter's first shave? Or her other daughter's first shave? Or her son's first shave?
Julie has been asking all summer if she can shave her legs and armpits. I think every girl has a story where they're...
I just like know how I was as a kid, just so insecure about my body, about all kinds of things. And I just can't imagine how much more so it would be for a little girl, and for this, like,
They're in a rush, it will cut. So there's a lot of hair in there, actually.
Mom, don't show that.
It's just very bizarre to me. Quite frankly, it's these types of videos that attract not only children, but pedophiles. Creepy old men have a history of putting timestamps in the comments where kids are in compromising positions, and to me, such blatant clickbait doesn't exactly dissuade that kind of attention. I remember feeling weird enough already during puberty, but the thought of my parents whipping out a video camera and detailing every single event that happened during that uncomfortable phase makes me want to gag.
Maybe a medium would be right. Do you want to take those and try?
What about me? What?
No, not, you don't have to try them on here. You can find a dressing room.
Okay. Mom.
She's all embarrassed.
So, did it work? How come you're all embarrassed?
Because you're filming her and you're her dad?
Is that...
I'll admit, some of their...
Yeah, like the... as far as I can tell, it doesn't seem like the father was going to really have any repercussions. It's seeming like he may not get custody back of his kids. They are still in state custody. He is fighting for custody. It's seeming like he may not get it, and I hope he doesn't. He does not need to have them. While not directly involved in the more extreme torturous abuse that Ruby inflicted on her two kids over the past year, because he abandoned them and had not spoken to them at all for a year, he was still complicit in this exploitation of them and the kind of punishment and discipline that they inflicted on them during this time. And he should not have those kids.
Videos are a little more tame than others, but when it comes to titles that involve puberty or periods, it just comes off to me as a projection of your child's own insecurities to a much wider range of people for the aim of making money. And I think it's pretty hard to go about doing that in a tasteful manner.
I've had to get after her a few times to wash her face and to remind her to take a bath or a shower. I'm gonna give her this. It's a little gold ring. It's kind of like the one Julie got for her birthday. And I'm just gonna tell her that when she wears it, to remember that her body is a blessing and it's a good thing, and everything that's happening to her is good, and remember to take care of it.
I just keep going back to the thought of having their friends at school being able to access all of this. And when I say friends, I mean it pretty loosely, since it would seem they don't have any, according to them.
And now I have no friends.
You can play with friends.
No, like I don't have friends.
I don't have friends either.
I literally told my friends I'm not hanging out with them anymore.
I don't even know where they live.
These kids have been pretty open with their mom about their lack of friends at school, which would honestly be crushing to any mother with a heart. But in the case of Ruby, it would seem that despite her apparently strict militaristic household, it's not hard to see where her priorities lie.
Chad hasn't had a flip phone, a smartphone, any kind of phone, and it's been over a year. And I still have no intention of returning a phone. Abby, we took the phone away from Abby in November. And you may never get the phone back.
Probably not.
If I was to go back and redo anything in parenting, it would be not to give the kids a phone. Yeah, so there will be basically no technology over the summer.
Look, I get it. You shoehorn enough of your miserable life into the spotlight that it's only natural for the more negative sides to show themselves. But openly denying your child the most basic necessity is a little bit more than 30 seconds out of a 20-minute video, as described by the eldest passenger on Instagram.
I just got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? Responded.
The other narrative.
Eve is
the other narratives right now is that did not really do that.
And she actually told me she did pack a lunch.
Like, I'm sorry, but what did you really expect from a 5-year-old girl? My mom is a kindergarten teacher, and I know for a fact.
I also don't know I just something in my gut tells me that that story wasn't true. That she sent her to school without lunch as a punishment, and tried to soften that blow publicly by just saying, "Oh, she just forgot her lunch." But either way, like, still, like, it doesn't matter. You don't, like, let your child go hungry to teach her a point about packing lunch. Like, you gotta feed your fucking kid.
Those snot-nosed cretins cannot be expected to tie their own shoes, let alone remember to prepare an entire meal for themselves.
Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch, because then she's not going to learn from the natural outcome.
So what, you just trust it if your kid feels...
Disciplining your kid, like, you can take away things that they want as punishment to help them learn a lesson, video games, TV time, screen time, whatever it may be. You can't take away essential things that your child needs. That is abuse.
Feels hungry enough by the end of the day, she'll learn how to pack her own food more diligently next time.
You've got a little treat there, some Nutella sticks. Why does she take the sandwich out and then put it in a container? Oh.
Yeah, maybe because she's 5. She doesn't know what to pick out because she's a child. If I had to pack my own lunch at that age, I'd be eating nothing but goldfish and gushers 5 days out of the week.
My hope is that she'll be hungry and come home and go, oh man, that was really painful being hungry all day. I will make sure to always.
I wonder, he probably has to get, like, footage from people like Def Noodles too, because these videos are hard to find nowadays. I don't know, it's kind of my guess. She's kind of scrubbed the internet of them.
Have a lunch with me.
I know I'm not exactly experienced in this field, but I could never see myself doing that kind of thing as a parent. The definition of neglect in most states is the failure of a parent or caregiver to provide needed food, shelter, clothing, medical care, or supervision to the degree that a child's health, safety, and well-being are threatened with harm. The first part of that definition should ring a couple bells.
My job as a parent is to provide for the needs of my kids, the needs that they cannot meet themselves. You know, providing food, providing a safe place. Kids have a really hard time providing their own safe space.
Yeah.
That is my responsibility.
Yeah.
They're gonna think you're torturing him. Stop it. I know you're not, but it looks like you are. Okay, Russell. I'm only gonna say it one more time, and then you're gonna lose the privilege to eat dinner.
Never mind the fact that her youngest daughter somehow slipped away and fell down a gutter or...
Yeah, privilege is never... eating is never a privilege. That is... You're obligated to provide that. Your kids didn't ask to be born. They didn't ask to be brought into the world. The least you can do is fucking feed them.
Something? I don't know. I could barely find any information about this.
And you especially can't take that away because they're fucking roughhousing on the floor. Jesus Christ.
One of the reasons Oh, no! What are you doing? You are so crazy, girl!
Can you give it up here?
I can't believe you're going down there. I can't get any of my kids to go down there. You did that all by... Oh my...
Also, the same kid that, like, broke a door? How do you let this happen, first of all?
The boat? Can I have that?
What happened?
I wrote that. The shark coming.
What happened? Evie, no. Don't stand on that. Don't stand on this.
The sharks. The sharks. The sharks.
You're pretending you're in...
It's making me really emotional to see her like this, still so innocent, and then to fast forward to seeing her in Jodie Hildebrandt's closet, emaciated and scared to talk to the police and not able to come out for 4 hours. It's hard to see her like this.
In the ocean, and so you broke my door?
Just think, if this is the type of thing unfolding on camera, it almost makes me wonder what all is happening off camera.
Worry if Dad and I are gonna get divorced? You do? I did not know you worried about that. How often do you worry about that?
Probably when I go to sleep.
You know that all that's going through her mind right now is like, oh, this is going to be great content. Yes.
When you're at the most tired, and then your mind starts going to extreme cases. Oh, well, do you hear Dad and I yell and fight a lot? You're supposed to say no. You're not supposed to say yes. And there was a time, I'll find the photo. I had just had Russell, and Julie was just crying a lot and whiny, and one day I looked at her and I'm like, you just stink. She had like peed her pants or something, and it was just because she was being neglected, because I was totally paying attention to the new baby. And I thought, you know what, I'm gonna get somebody to help me with the little ones. I'm gonna pay attention to you. And so I bought her a new little dress at Walmart. It was like one of those dresses you see for like $4.89 or whatever, a really cheap dress. It was just darling, cute as can be. And I gave her a bath, and I brushed her hair and fixed it cute, and she was good. She was better.
Between policing her children's social media, suppressing their access to technology, and failing to provide food, it would seem Ruby's parenting methods are a bit unorthodox. You could say the ethical side of Ruby and Kevin were especially brought to the forefront when their eldest son, 14 at the time, had been shipped off to a wilderness camp in the middle of the desert, leaving many wondering what he could have done to warrant such a harsh and otherwise life-altering punishment.
We decided it was best to clue you guys in on what's been going on a little bit with Chad, and why Ruby and I are in a hotel room right now.
But first, we have a sponsor. Did you know that Jay and Jay Aubrey actually...
Yeah, they sent him off to like this wilderness retreat place, and those places can be so... my guess is it was probably a religious thing too. They can be so traumatic.
Stands for Ray J. If you ask me, his company Raycon makes some of the best earbuds on the market. But don't take my word for it. Snoop Dogg agrees. Drake, Migos, P. Diddy, Naked Cowboy. With an incredible battery life and a simple noise isolating fit that makes for a comfortable and enjoyable listening experience, whether you're out exercising or watching your favorite videos. With 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, and starting at half the price of any other wireless brand, their latest model, the Everyday E25, is my personal favorite. With an entire range of slick colors, Raycon earbuds are both discreet and stylish, probably sounding leagues better than whatever stupid, crummy, dumb earbuds you're using now. Click the link in the description below to get 15% off your order today. Huge thanks again to the wonderful people at Raycon for allowing me to slowly kill myself with Starbucks for another month.
Go buy some Raycons. I hear good things. If my AirPods Pros ever die, I might check them out. I don't know.
On August 9th of 2019, Ruby and her wonderful husband Kevin emotionally relayed some pretty unfortunate news to their audience.
And the guy says, oh, you don't need to bring anything except 36 pair of underwear. When Chad heard it, he was like, I really am going to go live in the desert in my underwear.
Is the music necessary? Is it really necessary? I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah,
Chad
no, not
today
necessary.
has just entered the Anasazi Foundation Wilderness Therapy Program, where he's going to spend the next 8 to 10 weeks living in the
Anasazi Desert.
Yeah, the desert mountains of Arizona.
It became evident that some unspecified behavioral episodes had led the couple to their final decision of sending their 14-year-old son to live in the desert to be fixed, I guess, where he would be stripped of all his basic commodities and forced to adopt a new minimalist, rugged way of living. The mindset here, of course, being that this change of pace would give him a new appreciation for the luxuries he has at home, assisting him along his spiritual journey with God.
So the idea is with wilderness therapy is if you can survive with these peers in the wilderness with nothing more than the clothes on your back and a couple of field supplies, then there's nothing in this world that you can't tackle.
And they said, like, it's like the real wilderness out there. There's snakes, there's bears, there's coyotes, cougars. Like, it's the real deal.
We want Chad to have some of those experiences.
I think close encounters would be good for him.
Yeah, because those types of experiences can teach you what's really important.
And he'll come home and he'll be like, dude, I survived and there were bears. I can do anything.
I can't imagine how much this would cost. I'm looking at their website right now, and there's like a one-time upfront fee of $2,750 that covers like psychological assessment, educational credits, and then outfitting, and then the entire stay is like billed daily, and it's a minimum of 49 days.
I'm not scared at all about that kind of stuff. What I lose sleep over is when kids start self-sabotaging their own efforts.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that really concerns me.
Just to stick it to their teachers or to stick it to their parents or family.
And the only person they're really hurting is themselves.
Shut the fuck up. The Anasazi Foundation describes itself as a troubled teens wilderness.
Yeah, this is the one. This is what I'm looking at.
Organization specializing in restoring and strengthening parent-child relationships. Oh, and they're nonprofits, so they don't pay taxes either. Although they claim to be against behavioral modification on their website, I did find a Glassdoor review from a former staff member who insisted Anasazi was more geared towards troubled teens by Mormon standards. The anonymous trail worker went on to describe the heavily dense Mormon staff as having minimal prior experience with kids, let alone troubled ones, vaguely alluding to the way certain campers were treated compared to others. I understand it's hard to gauge the legitimacy of an anonymous review, but the so-called therapeutic tab on their website hardly provides any insight to the specifics of their approach. It seems to throw out a bunch of vague, indefinite terminology that applies to a generally holistic set of principles. And although I don't know the specific issues their son is seemingly dealing with, it just feels counterproductive to ship any child away to a camp so loose in its approach to treatment. Like, what even are the essentials of a healthy lifestyle? And how does teaching these basic things help somebody struggling with substance abuse? It's like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. It's not exactly the type of information to give me peace of mind.
This is a chance for like a reset, like a start over, like a do-over, like a fresh beginning.
Yeah. So
look, I can't really tell any parent how to raise their
I mean, honestly, he was probably treated better during that than he was at home.
Kids. I don't have the expertise, so I'm not exactly in the know when it comes to the way their children behave. Or at least I don't pretend to know as much as they do. But there is nothing, and I mean nothing, my kid could ever do that would make me think, you know what would really help? Forcing them to sleep on the ground in the middle of the desert. Call me crazy, but that very concept sounds like it could worsen whatever it is they're already going through. Like, I'm sorry, Ruby, but in what universe would it be beneficial to pluck a troubled individual out of their element, in this case seemingly against their own will, and throw them into an entirely new environment where they're forced to hold their own against new circumstances they've never been exposed to? I wouldn't know how to react. I'd feel betrayed. To me, it sends a message of, we don't want you here, which can only work to damage the trust necessary between a child and their parent. I'm not...
Yeah, this is just so different than like a fun summer camp. Like, you're sending them there saying, like you need something about you was wrong. Your behavior was wrong, etc. And you're going to go here to get fixed. For like almost 2 months.
Not saying every experience with these camps has to be negative, but the dangerous potential of these decisions should not be overlooked either.
And if you're from a family, and I know you are, you know that there are things that happen in your family that other people don't know about. And it's the same with our family. There are things that happen in our family you don't know about.
We don't film, we don't share, so
just trust us that we're doing what's best. I'm really excited for Chad.
Again, I don't know what's best for their family. I don't claim to know everything that goes down behind closed doors. In fact, according to her son, he had a great time. Granted, he said this in front of his mother on camera, along with this.
So me deciding that my stomach ache was Chad's fault was not seeing things in truth. Right. But I really, really want to blame him. Because I just want to be able to eat my dessert and Oreo cookies without stomach aches. And so
Then send me off to another wilderness camp again.
So take that as you will.
Chad, come do a Q&A.
Yeah, like I say, he's probably treated a lot better. He's like, so let me go. Let me get the fuck out of here.
Where did you go?
Anasazi,
And where is that?
Arizona, Tonto National Forest.
Okay, why did you go there?
Because I was a bad boy. I heard this huge buzz behind me, and I looked up and it was a tarantula hawk, which is like in the top 5 most painful insect stings scale. It's on that scale.
Aren't they poisonous too?
Yeah, like that's why they're so painful, because the and it landed on my forearm, and I started crying. And I was alone in the woods.
Although it was never really specified why he was sent to Anasazi in the first place, we know of some other behavioral complications.
How would you know what's real? Living in that kind of situation, like, and then like, you're just expected to perform all the time.
That led to further punishment upon returning home. According to a deleted video on the 8 Passengers channel, the now 15-year-old got into some pretty hot water after a series of pranks on his younger brother.
We never told our viewers.
That I woke Russell up at 2 in the morning and told him that we're going to Disneyland and he has to pack. And he got up and made his bed all neatly and then packed all his clothes in a suitcase. And then he walked out the door and I'm like, Russell, and he's like, what? And he's all happy. Has his sunglasses on. And I was like, we're not going to Disneyland. And he started crying and hitting me. And then he went back to bed in tears and then...
So that was not the reason you lost your room, but that was...
Well, the other reason is because I pointed a BB gun at his face.
Pointed a BB gun at his face and hung him on the basketball.
Pretty typical, if you ask me. I think all siblings are going to pick on each other at one point or another. That's just how siblings are. The pranks me and my sister used to play on each other growing up make some of these look pretty tame by comparison. And in my opinion, lying to your brother about a Disneyland trip and letting him hang from a basketball hoop is entirely less cruel than what Ruby saw fit for punishment.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months and then you give it back like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
Sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October. And they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago.
Chad showed that he was not able to manage himself sharing a bedroom with Russell.
So when we moved, the bigger room in the basement was automatically his, and I didn't have a room.
It was only revealed in this video from 2020 that the eldest son had been sleeping without a bed since October. For over half a year of his life, this child was forced to sleep on a beanbag chair because he...
Like that can like fuck up your back. Like even a young kid like that is not good. This is not good.
pulled a few distasteful pranks on a sibling. He's 15. I understand when harsher forms of punishment are sometimes justified, but I don't know when it would ever be appropriate to take away your child's own bedroom.
So a lot of you are like, hey, that's not fair because Chad got the lesser bedroom and Russell got the bigger bedroom. Russell got the big bedroom and Chad got the smaller bedroom. And Russell's bigger bedroom also had a bathroom. But what you guys didn't know was Chad didn't get any room. He didn't get anything. He was sleeping on the floor in the family room.
Not only is there an ethical issue with this, but think about all the physical side effects that could come from sleeping in a beanbag chair for that.
Exactly. And just like kids need privacy. They need a place that they can feel like they can go and be, have alone time and be safe and like,
that long. You're just asking for back pain, spinal issues, and this was right after he got home from that stupid wilderness camp too. So not only did the camp evidently not work, but I guess they figured he didn't need a comfortable place to sleep anymore. Just look at the way Ruby's face changes as soon as he brings it up. It feels like we're not even supposed to know about this. Can't imagine why, of course. She only kept it under wraps for about 7 months. Maybe I'm a little too soft though, right? Maybe I'm insane. I don't know. But to me, you shouldn't be punishing your child so ruthlessly after their trip to a correctional camp. You should probably be rewarding them after such a daunting and distressing experience, but yeah, that's just me. Maybe I really want my kids to turn out as snowflakes. I don't know.
We need to face challenges. We need to face hardship
Resilient.
and pain to develop resilience and grit, and that's what leads to success in life. If we make things easy on our kids all the time, they're going to grow up to be snowflakes.
Yeah.
And the things that we show and share and the things that many of you are criticizing and calling abusive are actually things that mental health professionals have counseled us to do.
Nope. No shot. Jody Hildebrandt might have. But most health professionals would call what they're doing abuse. No shot. And it's so easy to help facilitate resilience in your kids. Kids are just naturally resilient. They are. Human beings are naturally resilient. And it's a good thing because it helped these kids survive their parents. And hopefully it will help them go on to live happy lives. Kids are resilient. You don't need to teach them to be resilient. You need to teach them how to thrive in life. And taking away food, taking away their rooms, does not do that. Does not help them grow into the best version of themselves. It keeps them in a constant state of fear. It doesn't help them internalize morality. It doesn't help them learn any kind of lesson. All it's going to do is teach them that they need to be better about not getting caught. It's the same thing with spanking. Spanking is a much more, there's a lot more research around spanking as far as how bad it is for kids. And these discipline tactics are much worse than spanking, honestly, I think, impact-wise.
The most worrisome characteristic I find with parents in these situations is that they don't seem to have insight. They don't seem to be aware of how they could be causing harm. We see a lot of defensiveness. For example, in a video that Ruby put on Instagram, she said if people were looking at her parenting and being critical, those people might be projecting.
Ruby and Kevin have a unique way of deflecting any criticism back onto their critics, becoming overly defensive anytime their own parenting skills are brought into question. And although I can kind of understand their frustration, I think it's completely within reason to examine whatever people decide to publicize online. In the case of these channels, they're explicitly picking and choosing what parts of their life to showcase.
I think you should always be at least somewhat open to criticism in any area of life, but especially parenting. And it's so disheartening. I talk about spanking a decent bit, like on TikTok, on my TikTok videos. And every time I do, I always get people who just get incredibly triggered and try to defend spanking or defend parents who spank and just be like, you just need to leave them alone, or like it's offensive or whatever. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like the facts are the facts. The studies show what they show. And like, if you can't at least handle a grown-up conversation about the harm that consistent spanking causes to children, then you're just not a good parent. I'm sorry. Like, at least be somewhat open. Like, at least be open to hearing the data and the stats and the studies and the findings. At least be open to it.
And assuming these clips reflect reality, it's only natural for uproar to ensue.
I want to go to the grocery store and I want to make dinner tonight. I could go into denigration and say, I'm not a good mom, or I'm not as good as other moms because other moms don't make their kids fend for themselves 3 nights in a row, which would be comparison. And I don't know that. Maybe other moms do. Like, I don't know what they do in their homes. But what I do know is that I am unchanging. And
I feel like too, people like this, they have all these systems in place and all these constellations and like isms and doctrines in place that make everything connect for them in their mind. And it's all about reaffirming and confirming their own biases. There's never any actual constructive criticism about the direction you're going in life. It's all just to validate.
And I can choose any day now to go buy more groceries and make a more decent meal. And I can feel centered instead of feeling shameful.
But their parenting is just one piece of the pie. You also have to consider the pros and cons of recording certain events to begin with. For example, it's one thing to discipline your kid in private, but it's another to do it with a camera shoved in their face only to be monetized.
What? Why did you open this? I didn't. Eve did.
Eve!
She finds everything.
Go put this in my room. Where is she?
Evie, you are not supposed to open your packages.
Is that mine?
You know the rule. We're not supposed to open packages that are on the porch. Only mommy does that. You have a birthday coming up and now you saw your present.
Sorry, Mom.
Kids can't exactly consent to this kind of coverage, and if it doesn't have enough of an effect on their lives now, think about how all of these clips could potentially be used against them in the future.
There's no privacy. Some have likened it to living in a transparent house, but I think it's actually worse than that. If their house was actually transparent, then people would have to drive by to see in. That would essentially be a passive loss of privacy. But by recording everything and putting it on YouTube, they're engaging in an active destruction of privacy.
But like I said, I'm hardly the first person to...
Like, just imagine, like, as an adult, if someone moved into your house and forced you to be on camera every day and, like, forced you to be in certain situations and to have, like, intimate moments of your life broadcasted to millions of people, and you have no say in it, really. You have no say in it. And even if you explicitly ask for it to stop, you are not listened to. Just imagine that. Just imagine that.
Take issue with any of this. In fact, one of my friends, Ready to Glare, actually made her own video on this incredible family, along with another creator by the name of Sloan. I'd love to provide clips of their videos in this one, but I'm afraid I can't do that, as both of their videos have been taken down, at the will of, you guessed it, Ruby Frank herself. It would seem that despite the cruel and unusual punishment so frequently enacted upon her own kids, Ruby remains physically unable to take criticism herself. You'd think that a mother who has written an entire book on parenting would be more secure in her methods than to silence those for speaking out against her actions, but Ruby likes to keep you guessing. You never know what her next move is gonna be. In the case of these channels, that move was to issue a cease and desist. But when you have clips like these circulating around, I can't exactly say I blame her for wanting them gone.
What I did was I went around the house and I have
pouring away.
Yes.
That's my homework.
Whoa, whoa. Oh, whoa.
Homework. I need that to turn that in tomorrow. No, I'm serious. That's like half my grade right now.
If you have something in the bag that you would like out, you can pay cash for it. So you learn the value of your items.
Family vlogging is still new, so we don't know the full impact such a lifestyle could have on a developing mind, making it one of the more shameless and potentially risky genres on all of YouTube. If a parent wanted to make their own channel documenting their personal journey of raising a child, sharing advice without said child being involved in the making of those videos, I don't see a problem at all. But when you begin to incorporate children as young as 5 and 6 into your content, they become directly associated with your brand. The kids are literally the selling points of these vlogs, and filming every minuscule moment of your child's life since the day they burst out of the womb not only puts their own privacy at risk, but could potentially harm their perception of the world as they get older. We've already seen the catastrophic effects fame can have on child stars in Hollywood, so just imagine what that kind of attention could do when you don't even get a break from it in your own home. I imagine having a camera shoved in your face must stifle certain experiences in your life, and for some of these kids, it's literally all they've come to know. And to add insult to injury, child endangerment laws used to protect those in Hollywood from being exploited are not applied to social media on a wider scale, inviting any given parent to just flaunt their child.
Yeah, I really hope something is done about this in the near future. Like, this is way more important than a fucking TikTok ban or something like that. Like, there just has to be some sort of limits on this. Whether it's like YouTube that does it or the government or something, like,
with little to no regulation, begging the question of how far is too far. To me, Ruby Frank is just one of the many parents on YouTube who freely exploit the lives of their loved ones without even a second thought. Her husband directly enabling this vicious cycle by refusing to step in and do anything. Certain channels will happily jeopardize the privacy of their children if it means they can turn a profit and make themselves superstars in the meantime. To me, the blatant...
Also, it's making me so angry watching Kevin, the dad, in these videos. After watching his interrogation, after Ruby was arrested, he just did not seem to care at all. His main concern was defending Ruby and saying that he loved her.
Stripping of privacy against their child's own will greatly outweighs whatever entertainment value the 8 Passengers channel may carry, underlining the inhumane conditions that come along with exploiting an entire family.
All right, that's it for tonight. Probably maybe tomorrow. He has a part 2 that he released, I think right after Ruby was arrested. So I'll watch that tomorrow night probably. Have a good